Hi, this is Josh Ellsworth, General Manager with Stahl's CAD-CUT Direct, and this is a production tip jar where we're going to show you a trapping technique for creating two-color designs for materials that aren't typically recommended for layering. In this case, we'll focus on the CAD-CUT Glitter Flake product, which looks awesome in a two-color design. To start, we'll type some text onto the screen. And we're working in CorelDRAW. After I type some text, I'm going to take it from a font and convert it to curves. So I go up to Arrange and Convert to Curves. And at that point, I can size it proportionally or exactly as I want. In this case, I'm going to make it 3 inches tall and keep it at 13 inches wide. If I want to make this a two-color design, typically you do a contour function in CorelDRAW, and that's found up under the Effects menu. Just go to Effects and then Contour. You can also hit Control F9 as the shortcut on your keyboard. Contours are typically done to the outside, so you maintain the integrity of the font. So I will do this contour to the outside, and let's make it a 1/4 inch outline all the way around the design. And click Apply. And you can see it defaults to the color black here, but I will break apart these two layers so I can separate them, the black and the blue. Click off of my image, and now I'm going to assign a gold color. We'll do a blue and gold design. I'll assign gold as the background. If you're doing a normal heat transfer film design with a product that layers, at this point you would be done, and you would be able to drag away and kind of separate the layers, cut your gold layer, and then heat apply your blue right on top. But with Glitter Flake, it's not recommended for full layer on layer applications. So I'll hit Control Z on my keyboard to get that back registered on the foreground there. Click off of my design, and I need to now create that void area in the gold layer. In order to do that, I'm going to select the blue original text one more time. And this time I'll go back to my contour menu, and I'm going to bring in an outline to the inside of the text. So I'll click on Inside, and then I want to specify my offset. Now this offset may differ depending on the size of your design. Since I'm dealing with a fairly long piece of text here, 3 inches by 13 inches, I'm going to default to a 1/16 inch offset, which would be 0.0625, and I'll click Apply. Now if I zoom in here, you can kind of see how it brought the black layer inside of the original blue text. Let me break those apart so I can assign colors, and then I will assign the gold color that we used prior to that foreground text. Now, right now this can look fairly confusing, but it'll all become much simpler when I start to drag the blue layer away. So I'm going to select that original blue. Make sure I get the right one here. I'll zoom in to select the original blue here. And I'll kind of drag that away and zoom out so I can work with it. And what I've done is I've created two cut files. I have the cut file here that reads Blue Devils pretty clearly that I will send to the blue material. And then I have the gold cut file, which is actually inclusive of 2 sets of cut lines. If I want to see those cut lines, I can simply go to the wireframe view, and you can see exactly what the cutter is going to cut out. Now in the weeding process, after I cut this, I'll peel away all of these letters and create void areas where the garment's actually going to show through the gold layer, and then the blue layer will inset right into that area, giving it a nice adhesion to the garment. If you want to go back to the normal view, you can actually highlight this gold layer and combine it by going to Arrange Combine, and that'll create the show through so you can visually see it as well. So you can see the gold layer with the garment showing through, and then the blue layer will apply right on top of it. And there will be a little bit of a a little bit of a trap or an offset, so you don't get any of that gap space of the garment showing through where it goes layer on layer. So I've pre-cut this exact design. I'm going to cut now off camera, and then I'll meet you back at the heat press to show you how it applies. Okay, so we have our pieces pre-cut and weeded and laying over here at the heat press where we have our garment. And you can see the gold layer looks very much like it did on the screen, where we've taken the weeding tool and pulled out all the inside components, where the blue will fit directly over top. And everything will be in perfect registration. So, and there's a little bit of a tolerance there. That's why we put the 1/16 of an inch outline. I'll start by just lining this bottom layer up. It's very important that you just press the bottom layer for a couple seconds. You want to do that just to get it down onto the garment, but limit its exposure underneath the heat so it doesn't shrink up on you and make alignment very difficult. And you want to peel this one after it cools down slightly. And this isn't a permanent adhesion now, this is just tacking it to the garment so I can bring my secondary color and inlay it. Since I'm working with the clamshell press, I'm just going to pull that out to the edge so I can see my alignment a little bit better. And glitter flake has a nice sticky backing, so it will hold in place after you position it. And I'll just slide it back into the pressing area. And this time I will cover it with a cover sheet. And heat press both layers together for the full time, temperature, and pressure that is recommended. And I'll let this foreground cool down, and then I'll peel it off. Once it's cooled down, I'll peel the backing off of the blue layer, and I'll have a completed design that's very durable and gives you that full bling finish that customers are after. This has been a production tip jar from Stahl's CAD-CUT Direct.